Friends, let's talk about wine. Specifically, Italian wine. Because as of April 5th, 2025, enjoying a glass of Pinot Grigio just got a little more expensive. Thanks to a new 20% tariff slapped on by the Trump administration, the cost of importing Italian wines has jumped. And that means higher prices for you, the American consumer. Now I know what you're thinking. John, tariffs? On wine? Isn't that a bit dry? And you'd be right. Tariffs are about as exciting as watching paint dry, or perhaps more accurately, watching grapes shrivel on the vine. But stay with me, folks, because this is about more than just the price of your next bottle of Chianti. This is about global trade wars, political maneuvering, and the little guy getting squeezed in the middle. This tariff, my friends, is a big deal. It's part of a larger trade war that the Trump administration has been waging, with tariffs being slapped on goods from countries like China, Canada, and Mexico. And while the stated goal of these tariffs is to protect American jobs and businesses, the reality is far more complicated. So, what exactly are tariffs and why are they being used like some sort of economic weapon? Well, in the simplest terms, a tariff is a tax on imported goods. Think of it as a border wall, but instead of bricks and mortar, it's built with stacks of cash. The idea is that by making foreign goods more expensive, you encourage consumers to buy American-made products instead. The Trump administration argues that these tariffs are necessary to protect American jobs and businesses from unfair competition. They claim that countries like China have been manipulating their currencies and engaging in other shady trade practices that put American companies at a disadvantage. And while there's no doubt that China has played fast and loose with the rules of global trade, these tariffs are a blunt instrument that could end up doing more harm than good. For one thing, tariffs are ultimately paid for by consumers. That's right, folks, you and me. When the price of imported goods goes up, those costs are passed along to us in the form of higher prices at the checkout counter. And while some argue that these price increases are minimal, they can add up, especially for working-class families who are already struggling to make ends meet. Now you might be wondering why Italian wine has been singled out for this special treatment. Well, it turns out there's a lot of money at stake. The US is the world's largest consumer of wine, and Italy is one of the top exporters. In fact, Italian wine exports to the US were worth over $2 billion in 2024. That's a lot of vino, my friends. But it's not just about the money. This tariff is also seen as a shot across the bow of the European Union, which has been critical of Trump's trade policies. Italy, as a founding member of the EU, is seen as an easy target in this transatlantic trade spat. The irony, of course, is that this tariff is likely to hurt American businesses and consumers more than it hurts Italy. American importers, distributors, and retailers are all feeling the pinch as the cost of Italian wine goes up. And as I mentioned earlier, those costs will ultimately be passed along to consumers. Section 4, From Vine to Victim, the Human Cost. But beyond the economic impact, there's a human cost to these tariffs that often gets overlooked. Take, for example, Marco, a fourth-generation winemaker in Tuscany. Marco's family has been producing wine for over a century, and he exports about 20% of his product to the US. This new tariff, however, threatens to put him out of business. "This is a disaster for us," Marco told reporters. "We have worked so hard to build our business and establish our brand in the US. Now, overnight, everything is in jeopardy." Marco's story is not unique. Across Italy, small and medium-sized winemakers are facing an uncertain future. Many fear that they will be forced to lay off workers or even close their doors altogether. And for what? A trade war that seems to be driven more by political posturing than by sound economic policy. But it's not just Italian winemakers who are feeling the pain. American consumers are also starting to see the impact of these tariffs on their wallets. The price of a bottle of Pinot Grigio has gone up by $1 or $2, and that's just the beginning. As these tariffs start to bite, we can expect to see price increases across the board on a wide range of imported goods.